Alright, we now have our Mario character ready. We have the script files ready to start working on. If you remember from the last time what we were talking about in terms of the way this project's going to be structured, is that we're going to have some of the code created. The idea behind this is that we had a lead programmer flesh out or block out the basic functions, created the basic variables for us, and then some of the functions we're going to have to come up with our own, and we'll have to be able to use the system that's already in place and build on top of it. Getting started with this one, we're going to be using the character controls, the controller system script. Be sure to either open up the Mario 1 scene or the Mario 2 scene, whichever one has your character controller with all of your boxes and game objects assigned to it. For me, what I'm using is actually the second one right here. For the character himself, two things just to change so that we can actually have him working on default when we play. If you go down to the controller system inside the inspector, you'll see a can jump 2 and 3. You can uncheck both of those. Currently, the jump 1, if it's checked, will just continue to jump 1 by itself. And then everything else should just be as default. The only thing that you could just to note, I'm using a joystick. However, if you want to use the keyboard and you want to have the keyboard assigned with a time base so that he goes from an idle to a walk to a run, you can actually check this option right here. Alright. So, what we want to do is open up the controller system. We'll take a look at it for just a little bit, and then we're just going to go function by function, and we'll fill out the requirements inside of those to get things up and going for it. The editor which I'm using to work with on the code side is Unity Develop. You can use MonoDevelop if you like. You can use any other type that's out there. For this one, if you open up the controller system, what you'll notice is inside of here, all the variables have already been created. If I pull this over a little bit more so you can see, the majority, if not all of the variables and all the lines in terms of code-wise has already been commented on. This, in terms of programming side, definitely, if you can, I think I've said it before, but if you can take your time and write this, whether it's when you're doing it or after, it doesn't really matter either way, but just make sure that it is actually kind of cleaned up and done for it. What we have here, though, like for instance, this part's missing, we should come back and comment on those. What we have, though, is the basic setup for all of our basic movement. So for instance, if I go up here and I check these out, stuff that has code in it right now is the update function, the update move direction. We currently have some information setting behind our idles and walks and jogs. We don't have anything inside the sprints. It looks like, if I'm just taking this as I just received this from a programmer, one thing for sure is that it's going to be maybe an hour or so of just going through the code that's there, getting up to speed with how they're programming things, what they're calling things. From the looks of it, though, the basic setup, which is kind of like what you get with a lot of your standard character controller systems, you have your idle, your walks, your jog, or your run, and then that's pretty much it. You might get one jump. So what we've got in terms of filling out, we're going to be filling out jumps for doing a combo jump 2 and 3. We have crouching and jump from the crouching. We've got jumping off objects. We have the angle slides. We have attacking and getting hurt. Looks like the kill has actually been created for us. Looks like we've got a push that's been done, but the grab hasn't been done. So this is similar to what you usually find when you're working on scripts, from whether it's something you download from online or something that you usually get. It tends to be almost everything you want, but not all the parts and pieces to it. So what we want to do is, based on examples, based on trying to find and look at what they're calling, what they're using, we want to be able to look at those in the middle to just add to it so that we're able to continue working with the scripts. Alright? Last thing on this one, just to remember is that when you look into the header up here, just the heading area, we do have a main variables. They're basically used the most often, or things that are going to control the character. Sometimes it's good to actually kind of point those out so that if someone's having to use these, they don't have to be looking through what we have nearly 100 plus variables. They can kind of look at just the main ones and go, okay, move direction is player, target directions camera. Helps, makes sense, the velocity moves the player speed. So those things are always a good one when you're writing your own to include, just so people can read those and know what's happening really quick. Alright, so that's pretty much all the basics. We're going to get into looking through the code that's currently here, and then get into writing some of the code after.